blessings. Laura Tara Davy Joplin here, and welcome back to my virtual yoga studio here on YouTube. I'm filming this in mid-November 2021, so here in my area, southeastern United States, we've just had the end of daylight savings along with the natural progression away from the sun that happens as we're moving toward these winter months. So it is darker and colder. And I've been very aware of that in my life and in my yoga practices and in the yoga teachings I've been sharing in my classes, my live classes in the last few weeks. And especially aware of it because one of my other crafts, aside from teaching and sharing yoga, is I am a social worker in training, which also includes teaching and sharing yoga because I see counseling clients as a part of my clinical internship, and the type of counseling I offer includes kind of yogic and meditative techniques, a lot of what we do here in practice. And I've been speaking with my clients, and a theme that has come up has been an anticipation of this time of year that we're in right now, where things are getting darker and colder. And everyone, myself included, seems to be really aware of the kind of impact that the extra dark and cold can have on us physiologically, emotionally, mentally. And we're experiencing that right now in the context of a couple of years where it has been easy for our mental, emotional, physiological well-being to be impacted because there's been a lot going on. So there's been this anticipation of this colder, darker time, almost an anxiety around moving into this time because everyone's aware that we're already kind of burnt out. We're already tired. We've already been through so much. And then on top of that, we have the seasonal kind of effects of colder, darker times that can add to that. And so I've been really aware of that in myself and in our collective as I've been teaching and sharing. And a lot of what I've been teaching and sharing lately has been centered around warmth from the inside. So in yoga philosophy, there is this idea that in all the different physical areas of our body, there are different energy centers that correspond with different qualities, different elements. And the belly is an energy center that corresponds with fire and sun and that element of fire. We have our digestive system in the belly, which is associated with fire, the fire and fuel of digesting food to create energy. So our digestive fire is here. We also have deep abdominal muscles that are associated with kind of the core centered power and strength like the sun. So those are some of the reasons that the belly is associated with the sun. And the teaching, as I understand it, is that when we work with the belly space, we are tapping into a fire, a light, a heat, a warmth that is internal and eternal. Internal and eternal. It's within us. It's not dependent on anything outside of us. It's not as easily affected by all that's going on around us, whether it be the changing of the seasons or the wildness of our lives. It is internal and it's self-sustaining. We can fuel it ourselves to make sure that it is bright and lit and lighting us up no matter what else is going on around us, so that it's this idea that the fire of our awareness, of our aliveness, our transformation, our love, all these things that can be fired up within us stay alive even as it gets a little darker and colder around us. And that's what I've been working with as I've been teaching, and I want to share it here with you so that there is an accessible way to do these warming practices both in this season as I'm filming it in real time in the darker, colder months, and whenever you need a little kind of boost for the fuel that you are giving to your internal fire. So this is going to be a warming practice, warming twists and breath. Twists kind of turn us from our belly, so it really gets us into awareness and work with that belly center. And we'll use some breath to light up the belly center as well, just to ignite some fire from within and keep ourselves warm and sustained in a way that is just perpetual and about us and for us, regardless of what's happening around us. So that's where we're going. But please, as always, remember that this is for you. This is an offering for you. Everything that I am offering is a suggestion, and you can take it and customize it however you need to. So find a comfortable seat to get started. A comfortable seat, as always, is any seat where you can lengthen your spine, the center line of your body where your energy moves. And when it's nice and long, things just feel more connected and open. So sit however you need to find that long spine, arms and legs positioned however they need to be for that. And as you find that seat, feel free to soften your gaze. You might close your eyes if that feels good. You could also gaze down the tip of your nose or gaze softly at the floor. Whatever feels supportive to kind of put down the external, all the external stimuli, all the noise, and turn toward the internal landscape as a way of stepping into practice. Arriving in presence with yourself. You might continue that process by practicing breath awareness if that feels supportive. In this practice, I'll invite you to inhale and perhaps notice the way that your belly, that sun and fire center, expands. Exhale and notice, and maybe even add a little contraction, a little squeezing to your belly. A little belly breathing to start to offer some awareness and some fuel for this belly center. If breath awareness is not a supportive practice, you could choose to practice awareness of anything that's happening right now, whether it's a sound that you can hear in the room with you, the weight of your clothes on your skin, the air you feel on your skin, just choosing any present moment phenomenon to anchor you into the present moment. If it's your breath, we're still just doing some gentle belly breathing to get into the kind of the energetic home of the practice that we're doing today. And take one more breath in together. Exhale. On your next inhale, circle your palms to touch and start to rub your hands together. Working with that element of fire in a tangible way by creating some friction, some heat in the hands. Just noticing, first thing, what heat feels like to you. And then once you feel nice and warm between your palms, I'll invite you to put one hand on your belly and one on your heart. Just offering that warmth and getting curious about that sense of warmth within you. First from your belly, and in your heart. The belly is right below the heart. And so the way I think about it is when we get that belly fire going, it ignites, it lights up the heart space. From here, place your fingertips or palms down beside your hips, just depending on how long your arms are. Extend your legs straight out in front of you for Dandasana, a staff pose. Your legs are extended, but feel free to take a soft bend in your knees, especially if you need more space for your lower back or your hamstrings feel really grumpy or some other type of experience that needs a little more space. Do flex your feet, squeeze your thighs and your low belly. From that space of strength and support, curve your low back forward, grow your spine long, pull your shoulders back, lift the center of your chest. Strong lines of energy, starting to work with strength, which is one of the qualities of the belly, but not a forceful kind of strength, a strength that is kind of deep and authentic and has integrity, whatever that means for you and your body. From your staff pose, I'll invite you to inhale, sweep your arms up, squeeze in your shoulders, reach through your fingertips. As you exhale, squeeze your low belly for back support. As you tilt forward from your lower back, lean your torso over your legs a little or a lot, and then just tap the ground beside your legs wherever it's available to you. Inhale, tone your belly for spine support, reach all the way up. Exhale, fold and tap. Start to move with your breath. Just moving the spine back and forth, creating some of that warmth in the center line of the body. Moving from the belly, the lower abdominal muscles, you kind of squeeze them a little. Those are your centering core muscles, and they facilitate the movement. So we're moving from that place of warmth and integrity. One more. tap as you exhale. Inhale, reach up. This time as you exhale, take your right hand, grab the outside of your left thigh. Inhale, reach way up through your spine and your ribs and your waist. Exhale, turn your ribs to the left. Float your left fingertips to the ground behind or beside you, and we're taking a twist to the left. You might look over your left shoulder or straight ahead, depending on the needs of your neck. Keep your left hip squaring forward, right hip backward. So your hips continue to point forward. You turn from your upper spine, your ribs, chest, and shoulders. That strength of the centering abdominal muscles facilitates the twist. You might connect with a deeper breath if it feels good, to just add that warmth as things kind of move and squeeze and stretch a little bit in this twisted shape. Inhaling in your twist. Exhaling in your twist. Inhale, reach back to center as you turn your torso to center. As you exhale, we'll go to the second side. So grab your right thigh in your left hand. Inhale, reach up through your spine, your waist. Exhale, turn your waist to the right. Right fingertips land on the ground behind or beside you. Turn and twist. Maybe look over your right shoulder or straight ahead, just using your discernment for the needs of your neck. Square your hips, right hip forward, left hip back. Turn your upper back, chest, shoulders, ribs. Squeeze at your low belly to facilitate the strength and stability of that twist. And then maybe breathe with a little more depth, whatever that means to you. And notice where the breath goes as it lights you up from the inside. Inhale in your twist. Exhale in your twist. Inhale, turn and reach all the way back up. This time as you exhale, fold over your legs. Bend your knees as much as needed to bring your belly to your thighs. So squeezing your low belly to help it make contact with your legs, which is going to probably be the most spacious spinal stretch. So less about the legs, more about the spine here. You can place your fingertips or hands on the floor again. You can grab whatever part of your legs or feet or even a strap around your feet that is available to you. Squeeze the muscles you feel stretching in the backs of your legs, because even with bent knees, they are stretching. Take a soft curve forward in your lower back. Reach your chest forward, the crown of your head forward. Pull backward softly on your shoulders. With contact between your belly and thighs, that might give you a little feedback for a deeper noticing of that breath as it continues to move through your belly. Your solar plexus, the center of the solar system that is your body. Take a deep breath in. Release the breath. One more inhale in Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. Exhale. Put your hands on the ground, tuck your chin slightly, and as you inhale, roll up. As you exhale, do whatever it is you need to do to make your way to a tabletop pose with your hands and knees on the floor, arm bones and thigh bones straight up and down. Your toes curl under. You make little 11s with your pointer fingers, pointing them straight ahead, pressing them really firmly into the floor so that the inside edge of your palm is the strongest part. Squeeze your 10 fingertips. For a cat-cow movement, inhale, tilt your belly toward the ground. Tailbone backward, chest forward. Lift your chin if it feels good. Exhale, round in. Hug at your low belly. Kind of squeeze and ignite that fire. And then start to roll. Inhale, lift and arch a little. Exhale, round and hug in at the pace of your breath. Today, your breath and body might include and ask for a little more fire and speed, might be a little more slow and deliberate. You decide. I will invite you, if it works, to squeeze a little intentionally at your low belly as you exhale, just to kind of keep injecting, keep infusing is a better word, that fire into your body and your breath and your practice as you flow with your breath and link all of those things together. Next, inhale, bring your spine back to neutral, uncurl your toes. As you exhale, sit to hero pose, hips to your heels, spine upright. You also always have the option of taking a block or a prop of any kind that you have at home and putting it between your feet to sit there, if that's more supportive to your knees and ankles. If none of those options work, you can stand in kneeling, stand on your knees, or just sit on your tailbone in that same comfortable seat you started in. Before we keep moving, we're going to turn to the breath. Take this practice internal again and do some fire breath, Kapalabhati, to light the belly fire up with the breath, kind of on an internal energetic level. The breath is associated with our energy body, our emotional body, kind of the layers beyond the physical. So we're going to get the fire going there too, so we can take it with us. And fire breath is kind of a dynamic breath. There's some vigor to it. It is more about the power than the pace. So you can customize the pace that you do this breath. You can also decide not to do this breath if it feels too kind of dizzying, or if you have, it's a heavy cycle day for you, if you're pregnant, you have any glaucoma, blood pressure stuff going on. I'll invite you to just come back to a deep belly breath, expanding on your inhale and a little squeeze on your exhale, just like we started with. If you're coming along for fire breath, it's a short inhale, so a quarter breath in through the nose. It's a strong exhale, not unlike blowing your nose. So you might have to blow your nose before you do this, because we exhale sharply, we squeeze the low belly as we exhale. So as that happens, the belly starts to pump in and out like a wave, and that belly pumping warms the belly center. So we're lighting up from the inside to bring warmth everywhere it needs to be. So I'll invite you to bring one hand, your left hand, over the center of your chest, left hand over the center of your chest, right hand on top of your left, just holding your heart as we ignite that fire from kind of beneath the heart. We kindle it up. And then we'll take a full and deep breath in through the nose together. Let all the breath go and squeeze all the air out, just to make space for this breath practice. And if you're coming along for Kapalabhati, breath of fire, take a quarter breath in, sharp breath out. Keep going, belly pumps in and out like a wave, your pace. I'm gonna speed up a little bit, you don't have to. You could go even faster, you decide. Next exhale, keep exhaling as long as you can without force. Squeeze your low belly to squeeze any stale air out, any tension that's available out. Maybe only if it feels good, you hold with the breath out for a moment to kind of pause in that place of stillness that the non-breath can teach us about. Inviting the mind, the body into that place of deeper stillness. And kind of letting some of the heat of the fire breath build, only if that feels okay. And when you feel like your need for breath is strong, inhale. Release as you exhale. You can release your hands and find your way back to your tabletop, hands and knees on the ground. From here, you might tap your toes out on the floor a couple times since you sat on them. Pick your feet up, roll your ankles out a few times. Roll the other way. From here, bring the tops of your feet to the floor and really press down through your toenails so you're grounded in your feet. Keep your pointer fingers pressing down strong. Then shift a little more weight into your left pointer finger. Squeeze your left shoulder blade onto your back so that arm is nice and supportive. I'm actually going to turn toward you so it's easier to see. Actually, I'm not. That's not what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna move a little bit so it's easier for me to move and for you to see. So left arm is, I'm turning one more time. Now I'm figuring out what's happening here. Okay. Left hand is strong, left shoulder is strong. Inhale, reach your right arm up. It's a little twist. Turn your ribs and chest to the right. On your exhale, thread your right arm horizontally underneath you. So you bring the back of your hand to the floor. Arm is reaching across the mat. Maybe you bring your right shoulder, cheek, and ear to the floor. You could also put a block or a prop underneath you here to bring the floor closer. Threading the needle, spinal twist here. Your left hip's gonna kind of tilt forward. Pull it back in line with your right. Squeeze both of your shoulders as close to your spine as you can get them, and perhaps connect with a deeper breath. Imagining breathing into your ribs, your spine, all the places that are engaging in this pose to send some warmth there. And from here, we'll make a flow out of this shape. So press your left hand down. Inhale your right arm back up, unwind. Exhale, thread your right arm underneath you, thread the needle. Inhale, squeeze your low belly muscles for support as you reach up. Exhale, keep squeezing, keep supporting your spine as you twist down. Move with your breath for 5. 3. Last one. Thread it under, land in your thread the needle twist for 1 breath in, and exhale. Come back to hands and knees, bring your right hand to the floor. Shift some extra weight into your right pointer finger. Firmly and intentionally squeeze your right shoulder onto your back. For the second side, inhale your left arm up, turn your ribs and chest left. Exhale, thread your right arm horizontally underneath you. Back of your left hand to the floor, maybe left cheek, ear, and or shoulder to the floor, or a block or a prop. Threading the needle in this spinal twist. Right hip pulls back in line with your left. Both shoulders squeeze towards your spine. Maybe you imagine breathing into the space between your ribs, breathing along your spine. Wherever you feel sensation in this pose, just the warmth of the breath and the light of your awareness travels there. Now we'll make a flow out of it. Right hand strong. Inhale, reach your left arm up, unwind. Squeeze your belly to support your spine through this movement. As you exhale, land your arm down and twist. Inhale, reach. Exhale, twist. 5 with your breath. 5 is a subjective number. It might be more for you, might be less. I'm just offering structure. I'm offering the fire pit. Your fire burns however it does. 2 more. Maybe. 1 more. Land in your thread the needle pose. Twist and take a full breath in. Exhale. Back to hands and knees. From here, we're gonna do the same kind of movement that we did with our cat-cow. We're gonna add legs. I have stuff behind me, so I gotta make sure I'm in my office space, and we're really working with the space in interesting ways here, so I gotta make sure I have the room. But we'll keep the top of your left foot on the floor. Keep your pointer fingers strong. Inhale, reach your right leg straight back behind you. I have space, yay. Okay, squeeze your leg muscle to lift it. Maybe lift your chest like your cow pose. Exhale, like cat pose, round in and hug your knee toward your nose. For 5, 4, squeezing at your belly, infusing that fire. 3, 2, 1. We're gonna end up in a low lunge. So your right foot is gonna step between your hands. You might just step it straight through. You might step wide and then forward. You might use your hand to step your right foot forward. You end up with your right foot at the top of your mat, subjective again, because the top of my mat is under a desk, but your foot is between your hands. You might be perching on your fingers or on blocks, depending on how long you want your arms to be here. Both front knee, back knee are bent. So low lunge. Press your right foot and your left knee into the floor. Then squeeze them toward each other. We're bringing a little fire into the legs. Square your hips toward the front of your mat or front of the room. Left hip forward, right hip back. Maybe sit your tailbone down and forward to stretch in your front hip and back thigh. Maybe just do that as a thought. Mental yoga can light some fire. Get a little light in your hands, lengthen your spine. Take a breath in your low lunge. Exhale. From here, get your left hand centered under your shoulder on a block or the floor. Left pointer finger stays strong. Bring your right hand to your thigh. Keep your hips squaring, hug in your legs, and just move your torso. As you inhale, turn your ribs, chest, and shoulders to the right. Maybe look towards your right elbow as you twist. Connect with your breath here if that's the practice for you. Stay here or reach your right arm over your shoulder. Squeeze both shoulders onto your back. As you actively press your left hand into the earth, reach your right fingertips to the sky. Stay here or add a flow to it. On your next inhale, reach your right fingertips straight back behind you. Look towards your right fingertips as you reach. Turn in your ribs to twist. As you exhale, keep turning in your ribs as you reach your arm up, forward, and down. Maybe hit your desk. Touch your hand down inside your foot. Inhale, reach your arm forward, up, around. Trace an arc as you reach your arm straight back. Look toward your fingertips, twist open. Exhale, reach forward, around, down, touch down inside your foot. Inhale, reach it open. Exhale, twist it forward and down. Just kind of winding and unwinding your spine. Moving from your belly, your ribs, all those torso areas that fuel your fire. We'll do 2 more. One more time, reach. This time, float your arm over your shoulder back to this just kind of revolved lunge pose. Now you can stay right here, or you have the option, just an option, to tuck your back toes, lift your left knee off the floor, press your back thigh firmly toward the sky as you press your right foot into the earth for a revolved lunge pose. Again, you can do this back knee up or down. You can even have your hand on your thigh still. The only firm suggestion I'll make is a connection to breath or to the sensations of your body. We'll inhale here. Exhale, touch your right hand down. Bring your back knee down if it's lifted. Step your right foot and knee back beside your left. Sit back on your heels, spine upright, hero pose. You could sit on a block or on your tailbone. Bring one hand to your belly, one hand to your heart. You might feel an elevated heart rate now that you have moved your body with a little more dynamic practice. You might feel that warmth and sensation in your belly and even all along the right side of your body as you intentionally build it. Before we build more, maybe you just give yourself the space to be in that, to be warmed by your own fire, and notice what that experience is like for you. And release your 2 hands. Come back to hands and knees. Same practice, second side. We start with that kind of cat-cow style movement, this time with the left leg lifting. Inhale, reach. Lift your chest, squeeze your leg muscles to lift your leg. Exhale, round in and hug your knee toward your nose. Squeeze at your low belly to keep that fire lighting up. For 5, 2. Last one, we're gonna end up stepping the left foot forward. Take the steps you need to take to get it there. Perch on your fingertips or blocks as you come into your low lunge. Press your left foot, right knee into the floor, squeeze them toward one another. Square your hips toward the front of the mat, right hip forward, left hip back. Light in your fingertips and long in your spine. And we'll breathe in low lunge. And then we'll twist in low lunge. Put your right hand under your shoulder on a block or the floor. Start with your left hand on your thigh. Keep hugging your legs toward one another and just move your upper body as you turn your ribs, chest, and shoulders left. Maybe look towards your left elbow. Checking in here. It's like you get to decide. There's this practice in yoga where we add ghee, a type of oil, to fire during ritual to make the fire bigger. Do you want to do that or do you not? You can stay here or float your left arm above your shoulder. Press your right hand actively down. Reach your left fingertips actively up. Squeeze your shoulders onto your back. Keep turning at your ribs. From here, continue to be in your static twist or make a flow out of it. Inhale, reach your left fingertips back behind you. Look toward your fingertips, revolve your chest. Exhale, arc and reach your arm up, forward and down. Fingertips to the floor inside your foot, a little tap. Inhale, reach it up, back and around. Look over your shoulder. Exhale, arc forward and down with your breath. Just an intentional kind of squeezing and working of the upper back, ribs, diaphragm, belly, the space where we can kind of oxygenate and build the fire in an intentional way. 2 more. Last time. Reach back, float your left arm straight up and twist again. Stay here, or for revolved lunge, curl your back toes under, lift your back leg and press that thigh so purposefully up toward the ceiling. Turn your ribs, press your left foot into the floor and reach opposite directions between both arms. Inhale, touch down. As you exhale, bring your back knee, we'll do it that way. Bring your back knee to the floor, step your left foot back beside your right. Curl your toes under from your cat-cow. Step your hands forward a hand print length. Press into your pointer fingers. Lift your knees, lift your hips, bring your ears between your arms and come into a downward facing dog. You can also choose to stay in your tabletop. Take a child's pose by bringing your hips to your heels and arms outstretched to the floor. You can even lie on your back and hug your knees in towards your chest, just any spinal extension. So in downward dog, if you're taking this, Adho Mukha Svanasana, you can facilitate this spinal extension by pressing firmly into your pointer fingers, pulling your armpits up away from the floor and squeezing your shoulders towards your spine. Then from your shoulders, press your palms down and forward. Squeeze your low belly, and from that space, lift your hips up as high as they'll go. Press your inner thighs back behind you. Squeeze evenly through your fingertips and toe tips. Reach the crown of your head towards your thumbs. Soften your jaw and connect to your breath or whatever sensations you're using to just anchor yourself in the presence of your practice. For a moment, just noticing the fire of kind of a steady burn rather than moving in a dynamic way. Staying static in one space and just letting the power or the Shakti build. Shakti is a Sanskrit word for spiritual power, which is deeply connected to that fire of transformation. You can come in and out as needed if you need to, in whatever pose you're in. We're going to take 3 more breaths. Inhaling, exhaling, put your knees on the floor. Sit down onto one side of your hips. Swing your legs out in front of you. Dandasana once again. Lengthen your spine. Bend your knees as needed. Heart forward, shoulders back. Same pose you started in, but you have been places since then. You have ignited some fire since then, so notice what your experience is like now. Contrast gives us a way of really being present to the effects of practice, to what the fire of practice does for us. And it's different for all of us. You know what your experience is, just noticing. And we'll go into one more spinal twist, seated spinal twist together. Okay, so bend your right knee. Put your right foot either inside or outside your left thigh. The way you will know which one is best for you is if you cross your foot over and it feels like there is a really disparate, a different amount of weight in one hip, that is going to indicate that inside is going to be the better option, because that will keep your hips even, which will actually give you more space in your spine. Okay, so you decide where you want to go with that. You can start by grabbing onto your right shin in your left hand. Inhale your right arm up, lengthen your spine. Exhale, just as you've done many a time already, turn your torso, your chest, your ribs to the right. Right fingertips land behind or beside you. Press your right foot into the floor. Square your right hip forward and left hip back. Turn your upper back. Maybe turn to look over your right shoulder or just look straight ahead. I'll offer a suggestion to pull backward on your chin so your neck comes back into alignment with your spine as a way of counterbalancing a lot of the rounding forward we do in our necks, in our lives. You might continue to grab your shin in your hand, or you can wrap your left arm around your right leg, or you can bend your left elbow, forearm pointing up, hook your left elbow outside of your right thigh. If any of those facilitate more connection, go for it. If any of them feel forceful, don't. If it feels connective, you might connect to a deeper breath here. Again, just moving the fire of your awareness, which is the tool of the breath. The breath is awareness embodied. Just moving that fire of awareness throughout, especially your spine, your diaphragm, your belly. Inhale in your twist. Exhale in your twist. Inhale, unhook your elbow or unwrap your arm, turn back to center. As you exhale, help your right leg to extend. I'm turning around. For space purposes, you don't have to, but you're in Dandasana, staff pose, and then your left knee bends. Put that foot inside or outside your thigh, depending on what keeps your hips level, which will keep your spine spacious. Start by grabbing your left shin in your right hand. Inhale your left arm up. Exhale, turn your upper back to twist. Press your left foot down, square your left hip forward and right hip back, and then turn your ribs and chest. Maybe pull your chin back so that your spine is getting, or your neck is getting a little recalibration here. Maybe connect with your breath to move that fire around. To use the kind of winding and unwinding shape of a twist to maybe melt through some tension, some stuckness, or ignite, right? Use that fire to ignite. It's just whatever feels good. It doesn't always have to be about taking away something we don't want. Maybe ignite something that you do, like openness, deep breaths, strength, love. Inhale in your twist. Exhale in your twist. Inhale back to center. Uncross. Come down onto your back. Take as many steps as you need to get there. Once you do, bend your knees, place the soles of your feet on the ground. Pick up your right foot, interlace your fingers behind your right thigh, and on an inhale, extend your right leg. It doesn't have to get totally straight. Just squeeze the muscles that you feel stretching to add some of that heat to your hamstring. and push and pull in your leg for more of that heat. So press your leg forward, pull your hands backward just to ignite the back of the leg stretch. Now, as that's happening, I'll invite you to press your right hip firmly down into the ground and imagine tilting it slightly to the left. It's kind of like screwing a lid onto a jar. It's like we're kind of putting the hip back into place to recalibrate the lower back, the sacrum, after all that twisting. Inhale. Bend your knee as you exhale and put your right foot on the ground. As you inhale, pick your left foot up, interlace behind your left thigh and extend. Flex your foot. Squeeze the muscles that are stretching and push and pull. Leg forward, hands back. Just some of that fire into the legs. Then using that support, press your left hip firmly down and to the right, recalibrating your hip and lower spine. Inhale here. Bend your knee as you exhale, left foot to the floor. Arms down beside you with your palms on the ground. And to keep that low back recalibration going, just to keep the base of the spine solid after all the movement that we did. And just because that area, our hips and pelvis and lower back, takes so much of the tension that builds when we tighten our bodies with stress or when we're constantly sitting, we'll do some pelvic tilting here. So your hips stay on the ground. Inhale, just curl your lower back up off the ground, arching slightly. Exhale, round your lower back and press it into the floor, like a baby cat-cow that happens just in your low spine. Inhale, tilt your hips and pelvis forward. Exhale, roll and round them back. Move with your breath. One more. Bring your spine back to neutral. Bring the soles of your feet to touch and open your knees out in both directions for a butterfly pose. Supta Baddha Konasana, supine butterfly. Your feet press into one another to stabilize as you take a deep hip stretch. Your knees reach apart from one another, and it doesn't really matter how close they get to the floor. You reach them apart and you externally rotate. The thighs, the femur bones rotate out for a hip opener. If you have blocks and you want to slide them under your knees for knee support, feel free. So we did not open the femurs like this. We didn't open the hips at all in this practice. So we balance out some of the work that we did by softening into a hip opener. Maybe even starting to press and or stretch your lower back toward the floor to decompress your lower back in a full way now in this last pose of our practice. I'll invite you to bring one hand to your belly and one hand to your heart here. And as you soften the effort in your body and get a little still, you might bring your awareness back to that internal space, kind of like we worked with in our fire breath, taking it inward. Underneath the hand that's on your belly, you notice the movement of your breath. Your palm rises as your belly expands on an inhale. Palm drops as there's some contraction on your exhale. Breath and awareness, moving oxygen, moving fuel into the fire at your belly that ignites your awareness, that ignites your love, that fuels your transformation, that warms you in a way that is internal and eternal, regardless of the season. Both so you can be okay and so you can bring more light to the world. And not the kind of light that is, superficial, false, bypassing kind of light, but deep rooted, core powered, for lack of a better phrase, light. That is kind of about setting the world on fire in the best way, right? Lighting up, igniting transformation for all people, for all beings. So that kind of fire being fueled as your breath moves behind the palm that's on your belly. And then with awareness at the hand that's on your heart, you feel your heartbeat. The indication of the transformation that happens in your heart when you light yourself up from within. When you light up your heart, which is the center where we express our light and love into the world. So from a light and a power that is rooted in consciousness, your heart lights up and shines outward. If your belly is the embers of the fire, your heart becomes the flame, this beautiful dancing embodiment of your own awareness and willingness to transform that sheds light on all around you. That keeps you warm and fueled in love and awareness in every season and every stage. Just noticing the belly fire, noticing the ignited heart, and perhaps noticing the breath to link it all together as you absorb this practice. I'll invite you to take an inhale here. Exhale. Reach down, grab your thighs, and help your legs up. Bring your feet to the floor. Hug both knees in toward your chest and stretch your lower back to the floor. Just stabilize and recalibrate your spine one more time. And then you might roll to one side and press up, or you could just rock up and find your way back to a comfortable seat, any seat that allows you to lengthen your spine. One more time as you land here, I'll invite you to bring one hand to your belly and one hand to your heart, and turn your focus inward by closing your eyes or softening your gaze in any way that is supportive for you. One more moment of sitting in the effects of that fire that starts in your belly, that starts in authentic and conscious power. That center of your body's solar system. And then like the bands of the planets that rotate around the sun, that warmth kind of radiates out into your heart, keeping you lit up in love, into the rest of your body, keeping you fueled in an authentic way, even as seasons change and life moves around you. And allowing you to radiate warmth in a world that can often not be so warm. Just sitting in that fire, like sitting in front of a gorgeous bonfire, watching the flames, sitting in awareness of that fire within you. Then I'll invite you to bring your palms to touch, thumbs to the center of your chest. You might bow your forehead toward your chest, bowing to your heart, your practice, the practice we have shared together and in service of all who cannot practice. And I offer a deep bow to you and close this practice. Thank you so much for joining me here in the virtual studio. Thank you for practicing It matters. If this was a supportive practice to you, please do like the video, leave some feedback, share, and subscribe. I share new classes. It's been a minute. I'm working to get back into consistency. I started a podcast, so that took a lot of energy, but I'm trying for at least once a month new virtual practices, free and accessible. So do feel free to subscribe if this was supportive and you want some more. And if you have feedback, leave me comments. Find me on social media at Lara Tara, and we can connect if you have questions or anything to share, or you just want more wild yoga teacher content. And it's just a pleasure to share it all with you. Take care, stay warm from the inside, and I will see you next time.